Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, and I am participating in the Scraptember sketch YouTube hop today, and this is my sketch up here, and I'm going to be creating a 9 by 12 layout, and I'm going to be stash busting with this photo play paper boys rule line that I have had in my stash forever. And honestly, my kids are about to start aging out of this line. Actually, two of them already have, but Finn is about to start aging out of this line. I mean, look at that. That is for little kids right there. So I am going to use this line because of that bright green photo of me as, I suppose, Shrek. So one of Finn's favorite things to do when he was little was to look at all the Snapchat filters. He finds them so amusing. And the other day I was laying in bed and Finn asked to see the Snapchat filters, which he hasn't done in a long time. So of course I obliged, and these were some of the funniest ones in the series. So I created a little photo strip in Photoshop to scrapbook all of these photos. So I need to pick out some colors. These are my Catherine Pooler inks. I'm going to pick out some colors that match. On the sketch there is some paint splatters, so I'm going to be using my inks as paint. So all you have to do is add a little bit to my tonic glass mat and then spray with water and then use a brush to sort of flick it around. So I'm going to use these colors and black. This black actually sort of has a greenish tint to it when you get it wet like this. So it works out pretty well. Add a little bit more color, or a little bit more water. It needs to be really wet in order for this to work. And I'm just going to splatter these around, and it definitely looks a hot mess when I'm done with it. It really did splatter in like straight lines because of the brush that I used, which you can kind of tell, but once I start building over the top of it, you won't be able to tell. My white paper is basil marshmallow cardstock, so it does really well with this water, like this mixed media. It absorbs a lot, like the black got a lot more gray than I thought it would, but it looks really great once it's done, so it doesn't bother me. Just making sure I get some nice big dots as well. All right. Gonna have to let this dry for a second and clean up my mess, make sure it works. Okay. So I did deviate from the sketch a little bit. I created two photo strips. They're actually the same photo strip, just one printed in black and white. Just wanted to add a little bit of extra width to the cluster by adding in just a slight duplication, just so that it wouldn't be too like long and skinny. I felt like it needed a little bit of width as well. So I'm just gonna offset this one a little bit. And those two photos of Finn up there in the top right kind of, or yeah, top right, kind of bothered me a little bit. I thought it looked a little bit silly, but the more I worked with it and the more like it built up in the layout, I actually liked the way that it looked. So I'm gonna roll with it. Okay. That light blue teal paper is just an old one from my stash that I created for Gossamer Blue a million years ago. There are stars on the sketch, so I'm getting out my star punches. Part of the prompt for Scraptember is also to use punches, so yay for me for doing both prompts. So I'm just going to cut out some stars in all of the papers in two different sizes, and then I'm going to sort of move them around the page and decide where I want them. I'm going to pull out some of these stickers that I think I might use as well, just so that I have them and I'm thinking about them while I'm arranging my stars. So I've obviously used just blue and green and teal so far, but there are some yellow and orange stickers in this collection that I want to incorporate as well. So because of that, I'm going to have to bring in some orange. Especially the yellow is fine and incorporates well, but the orange I need to bring in a couple of different places too, so that there's not just like one orange sticker hanging out and not making any sense. Sorry, I'm a little bit high off the page here. I'm still getting used to, I rearranged my office and I'm still getting used to where my camera sits, and sometimes if I don't pay attention, I'm a little bit off of the screen, but I'll pull it back down, don't worry. It's actually just the top, so it's not that big of a deal. So I'm trying to create a flow with these stars down the page so that they move your eye around the page well. Okay, I like that. So now I need to start putting them down. Here's how I'm going to bring in that orange. I have this glassine bag that I've had for 80 million years. I don't even know. So I'm super happy to incorporate it into this page. I don't think I use orange a lot in this way, so finding orange things in my stash was interesting. I know I have an entire bag of tags, but I could not find them, so I used the scrap from cutting down this 12 by 12 white paper into a 9 by 12 and just created my own little tag to match the sketch. So that is the basis of the sketch. I'm going to deviate the way that I do a little bit here and there, but it generally follows the sketch pretty well. I definitely added in more stars and then lots of embellishments that weren't on the sketch, but that is like the joy of using sketches. Is it's like having somewhere to start and then making it your own, right? So I'm going to stick this down. There we go. Now I need to stick down all these stars. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did with these stars was to pull, there's obviously 3 different shades of color here. We've got the light blue, the medium greenish blue, and then the dark blue. So I wanted to make sure that I pulled all 3 shades of those colors all around the page. So if I was putting something on the dark blue, it was not going to be another dark blue star. If I was putting something on the medium green, it wasn't going to be another medium green star. So that's just something that I contemplate while I'm scrapbooking. I think it comes from because I design paper and all of that too. I'm constantly making sure that everything looks even and balanced in my designing, so I do it with my scrapbooking as well. Balance is key. Okay, I'm gonna pull this down now because I'm gonna notice in a second that it is off the screen. And now I'm going to start incorporating all of these stickers that I pulled out. I thought this high was pretty funny here. Let's play. I know I want to incorporate this cool kid, but I didn't quite understand or know where to put it yet. So I think I'm going to put it down here. Who would think that this was such a big decision? There we go. But now I have to move this around a little bit so that it's more balanced. And I really want to incorporate this as well. So the last thing that I need to add here is a title. Hello! Yes, you were off screen. You finally noticed. Last thing I want to incorporate is a title, and there are stickers on the sticker sheet that say, it says boys. So I'm going to use the boy part of that, and I'm going to create a title with 2 separate letter stickers. So I'm going to do the boy from the sticker sheet, and then I'm going to pull in my old faithful stickers that I adore so much. I believe, yeah, they're American Crafts. There is a set of white foam tiny blue or tiny stickers, and then there is a set of navy blue tiny stickers. I'm going to use those as well. I really wanted to incorporate this camera, but it is so large. I'm just going to let it sit there for a second. Then I'm going to use some printed out journal strips, like it says on the sketch, to incorporate over the top of that white tag too, because I felt like that white tag was just like hanging out and chilling and distracting from the whole page. You can see now that I have layered over the top of that paint that yes, you can still see some like straight lines of paint, but it looks really cool now and worked out really well. Okay, I'm going to move this boy over so that it covers up some more of that white tag. Yes, much better. And then I'm going to take the navy alpha from the foam thickers and I'm going to put my silly above it so it says my silly boy. I have 2 sets in one package so that they all stay together. Luckily, I had enough stickers on the older set for the whole thing. Didn't have to pull into the new, or reach into the new stickers at all. Okay, this is really coming out much better than I had hoped. Gonna incorporate the orange in there one more place so that it's even. I always like 3 points of contact with something that stands out, like a bright orange color on this blue and green layout. So I'm gonna reach into my Million Cocoa Daisy enamel dots and pull out some orange. Still trying to incorporate this camera. It's gonna work. I'm gonna leave it here. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is add in the rest of these stars, or 2 of the rest of these stars, to the outside edges, which again deviates from the sketch, but I like the way that it brings your eye like out of the page and like out of the cluster. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. And I will see you next time. All right. Thank you.